It's Wednesday and we're back with another episode. This week's episode should relate to a lot of you this summer. It's summer. People are traveling. And this week's story is from a travel incident from a number of years ago. And the person I am really bothered with is myself. I fucking hate myself for this story. And maybe you can relate, but you're probably not as stupid as me. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, follow, blah, blah, blah. It's a very visual one in terms of me being able to share some stories with pictures. So I hope you can tune in. juliekimcomedy.com/podcast. Check us out on YouTube and all the other things. Stay cool. Hello, it's me, Julie Kim. Welcome to Bothered, my little podcast about being bothered. Every week I share short stories.
Living like this, I might lose it.
They're mostly real situations that have happened to me. You wouldn't believe some of them. Or maybe you would. Maybe you can relate.
Living like this, I might lose it.
So I just got back from the airport. I dropped my parents and their friends off. They were in Vancouver for a couple of days. And before that, a nice Alaskan cruise, a big milestone trip for them. Very happy for them. My point is that I went to the airport and it reminded me of a trip that my husband and I took a number of years back. And that trip very much ended with a situation where I was quite bothered because I got robbed by children. I got robbed by children, everybody. So here's the longer story. My husband and I, when our daughter was very young, took a trip to Paris without her. Because she was young, we figured, she won't know what's going on. And we were fortunate to have relatives that took her for almost a week. Very, very grateful for that. And we went off on this trip. And before we went to our trip, a lot of people who had been to France before or any European city told us to be careful. Be careful of pickpockets. In particular, and I only say this word because it was said to us, this is how it was relayed. They said to watch out for the gypsy children, which was a totally weird concept to me. I had never heard of gypsy children before. I now know that gypsy is not a nice term to use. And the more used term is Roma. These Roma kids you're supposed to watch out for, among other kinds of pickpockets. You're supposed to watch out for them when you're on the streets of, in this case, Paris, France. I mean, we took a plane, we landed, and there were also so many warnings. I'm talking about inside the airport and outside the airport, on the train as you leave, and on billboards as you drive away from the area where the airport is in. And it says, watch your belongings, close your bags, keep your eyes open. And I, to the extreme annoyance of my husband, I'm a bit of a messy person. I'm a messy person at home. I'm messy in my head. I get a lot of shit done, okay? But a lot of things I leave very disorganized. And if it's not on my mind or if it's not a priority or if it's very boring, I don't get it done. And a lot of times that has to do with just watching my loose ends. And in this case, the loose end is a purse that I should have had zipped up at all times, but I quite simply did not for no reason, really. And I have to say, other than this story, we had a pretty nice time in France, except for the people. They were very rude. I'm just kidding. Most of them were very rude to us. But when I say most, it's not that we encountered a lot of people. It's that most of the moments we remembered were not that nice, including, here's one story. We got to the airport and there was a store and we went into it and my husband said to a man who was facing away, he worked there, he said, "Excuse me." Man didn't move. "Excuse me. Excuse me." And then my husband, who like me has grade 10 level French because that's how we do it in Canada, and he then switched to his French Canadian and he said, "Excusez-moi." And the man turned around and said, "Oh, yes, hello." He had heard him the other times where he said, "Excuse me," but he turned around only when my husband said, "Excuse-moi," which, whatever, I kind of get. We're in your country. We'll speak your language to the best of our ability. Anyways, we had a really nice time. On the last day of our trip, we decided to hit the Louvre, because you're supposed to do that. We're not big museum or art people, but of course it's a thing to do. So we took the train to the Louvre. We went into the Louvre, which was very nice, very expensive, historically prominent artwork. It was a little annoying, actually, and it was mainly because of the other tourists that it was very annoying. And I might start some shit by saying this, but sometimes Asian tourists are a little bit annoying. There were some tourists from Korea proper who were there. There was a lady who shoved in front of us to get to the front of the Mona Lisa before us. She got there, didn't look at the Mona Lisa. She turned around, did this. I swear to God, I think she did this so that her partner could snap a picture of her with the Mona Lisa, and then just fucking left. Okay, didn't give a shit about the picture, didn't take it in, just took her picture and left. I found it really annoying. Anyways, we had a nice time at the Louvre. I'm the kind of person who will stop and read all of the things at the museum. My husband will stop for a minute and I'll be like, yeah, I'm good. But that just means that I take my time and I have some alone time, and I read up on the art. I don't remember any of it now. It's not that I'm lying, I just don't remember. We saw a lot of dicks, I'll have to say. There were a lot of statues, and they were anatomically there. Okay, they don't leave out the dicks in statues in Europe. We saw a lot of dicks, and I mentioned this because I was looking through the pictures from the museum and the theft by children that happened afterwards. And unfortunately, there's a lot of dicks in those pictures, and I imagining it right now, I don't even want to. So this is what happened. So we finished looking at our dicks, okay? And then we went into the train station, which is just beside the Louvre. And we went down, and then we were walking up some stairs to go to the platform of the train station. There was something that happened on our way up the stairs as we were walking. I was like, oh, it's really drafty. What is this thing that's hitting my shoulder? And I turned around, and there were just a few children walking behind us, 2 steps behind us, and they had this scarf. And I looked at them and they looked at me, and then I was like, all right. So then I kept walking. My husband and I are on the platform of the train, which has not arrived yet. And then I realized as I'm standing there that my bag is very light, and I had a partial panic mode, and then I put my hand into the purse, which was easy to do because I had left it open, and I was like, oh my God, my purse. That was me sounding an alarm. I was like, oh my God, honey, my purse is missing. Now at this point, there were many other people on the platform. None of them gave a shit. Okay. None of them even acknowledged that we were people there in trouble or there at all. I don't know what kind of what do you call it? Apathy exists generally among the people. Maybe it's just the subway platform apathy, or maybe it's a very specific being pickpocketed apathy, but nobody else gave a shit, which is fine. We weren't expecting a hero to bounce in or anything. So I'm kind of freaking out on the subway platform because I've lost my wallet. It was a Prada wallet. It was an old one, but it had all my ID in it. Not the ID I needed to leave the country. That I knew right away. So that was some sort of giving of peace, but I was missing my wallet, and nobody on the platform cared. I mean, I wasn't trying to make it anybody else's problem, but we were very surprised how nobody at all even looked our way. It was this extreme apathy that maybe people were just used to thefts on subway platforms, and they were just you know what I mean? It was just a little bit of, is that what ennui is? I don't like it at all. I mean, I think if I see anybody in distress, I at least care, or I make a concerned face, or of course I would try to help. Nobody fucking gave a shit, okay? And fuck you guys, everybody who was on the platform, fuck you too, okay? The train comes and people are now boarding the train, and I am not sure whether I want to board the train or not. My husband sees that a bunch of kids, the kids that were behind us, have boarded the train right in front of us. And it is at that moment where he made a connection. He's like, oh, I saw those kids outside of the train station as we were going in. So at this point, everybody has boarded the train. And I'm not sure if I want to board the train because I think somebody's got my wallet on there. At this time, I'm still thinking, oh, maybe I dropped the wallet. So we didn't get on the train. And then at that second, we saw another man running onto the platform. The first person we had seen at the train station who seemed to give a shit about anything. He was passionately running onto the platform and onto the train. He yelled something down the platform. Was it to us? We had no fucking idea. We have grade 10 French only. And when you don't speak a language, and if you understand it a little bit, I don't know if this is a general statement, you understand it a little less when it's being yelled at to you in a panicked tone down a subway platform. Okay. So he's yelling and we're like, what's his problem? And then he kind of jams his foot into the train door, like down the platform, which makes the doors open. At this point, my husband realizes that the kids in front of him, the ones that were behind me, the scarf kids is what I'll call them, he had recognized them from outside the Louvre. They had, in his mind, tracked us and followed us, me and him and my open purse. Yes, I know this is my fault. And they had come inside and he figured that they had stolen my wallet and he grabbed one by the throat, I think. And he tells me that he was going to punch one of them in the face. I don't believe it. And he keeps telling me, yes, I would have. And I still think he is not a violent man that I know of. And I said, because I watched the kids and they looked like so innocent. They had these giant eyes. And my husband said, they took your wallet. And they looked at me like this. And then I actually said to my husband, no, let him go. They said they didn't do it. And then he listened to me, let them go. The train doors closed and then the train started to leave. And as the train left, we saw the man I mentioned before, and I will describe him in a second. We saw the man from before whose foot had jammed the door run towards them and like NFL football, but more, he just tackled the lot of them. 5 or 6 kids, he just tackled them to the floor as the train left. And it is at that second that I thought, fuck. And why didn't we give him more attention earlier? This man, this tackling man, because we didn't know who the fuck he was and we didn't know what he was saying. And he was just a guy. He didn't look like a cop. He was like a guy and he was like kind of like a small man. He looked like a student. He had a backpack and he had a ball cap and he was just hanging out by himself, which, sounds like actually the perfect undercover cop uniform. But how am I supposed to know that? Do you know what I mean? So we obviously ignored him. We didn't know what the hell he was saying. And then what a regret. I just believed those kids when they said I didn't do it. How fucking stupid am I? I'll get to that later. So now with massive regret, I am realizing that we missed a chance to apprehend the children who stole my wallet. I mean, my husband and I were both annoyed. We were not being rude to each other or anything, but I know my husband the whole time was just wishing that he took his shot at one of these kids. What did we do after that? The only thing that we thought could make sense was that we would hop on the next train, and we 80% expected to find them on the platform. And guess what? We did. We got to the platform and I've got a picture. I will show it on the video. This is a video podcast in case some of you are listening, or you can check out the blog, juliekimcomedy.com/podcast. So we get to the platform and the man is there. The man in the hat and the backpack is on the platform and he's got five medium-sized kids. And when I say medium, I mean like the size of One Direction, like all of them when they first came out. Did you notice they were not like regular sized men and they were not like small children? They were perfectly in between. That's what these kids look like. They look like they could have been in grade 7 or 8. And they were wearing like normal clothes and sneakers and like sporty clothes and caps and stuff like that. And I don't know, they looked like they would be too small to be an organized ring of crime. But guess what? They were not. So they're all sitting there. I took a picture. Two of them hid their faces in shame, as they should have. The other ones did not. They were a little dead in the face. My husband says that they had doll's eyes, which he tells me is a reference from Jaws, which is a movie I haven't seen because I don't like scary movies with marine life. Maybe one day. Probably not. But anyways, there they are. And then we realize for sure that the man with the hat and the backpack is an undercover cop. And he's like telling us, I think he started speaking a bit of English, which now pisses me off because it's like, why didn't you yell at us in English before? We could have like gotten everybody, because he didn't even get everybody. There were 5 kids on the ground, and guess what? He said there were 6 of them. The 6th one got away, the one that took my wallet. And in English, the undercover cop said, I was trying to tell you guys to help. Well, fuck. You know, how about do what we do in Canada, is like try one of the 2 languages and then use the other language. I mean, if I was actually from France, I'm pretty sure that I would not have gotten my wallet stolen from a bunch of Roma children. He could have made the assumption that I was not from that place, but he did not. And still, I blame myself. It was only my fault. So then what did we do? Then we had an afternoon together. The 5 kids who were tied up with handcuffs. He was smart. He knows how to use handcuffs. He handcuffed like 2 of them and another 2. And then the third pair, which is only one, the 5th child was zip tied. And so we walked outside of the station, where we were met by 2 detectives. So the 5 kids, the undercover cop, the 2 detectives, and me and my husband then took a walk to the police station. And on the way there, we were getting a lesson in crime. In Paris, the detectives, they kind of looked like they were dressed like, you know, tech bros a little bit, just like, you know, a windbreaker, a pair of jeans each, and like just some dress shoes or whatever. And as we were walking, they were telling us that these kinds of things happen all the time. These children were known entities to them. And when I asked if I would ever see my wallet again, they laughed in my face in French. And they said, probably not, but come to the station if you would like to attempt any justice. And of course I did. I mean, and I think when I talk about attempting justice, it's also my need for spite and revenge. Okay. We wanted to make sure that these kids were punished, but I also needed to feel a sense of justice a little bit. I wanted to increase the chances that my wallet and my ID would be found. So we were there for a little while. As the kids were getting booked, we were like, do we have time to go get a coffee and a croissant? And they said, yes, you do. So we went over to get a coffee and a croissant. And I was so angry. I was so annoyed. And I don't know what came over me, but because of the way they were looking at me, they didn't look like they were sorry for what they did. And I felt that they should. And one of the girls was giving me like a mean laugh kind of stare. So I, a grown fucking woman, I looked at them and I gave them the finger. I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not ashamed. And we had just gotten food and I figured they were hungry. So I did what I'm about to describe. It's the first time I've ever done it. I don't think I'd ever do it again, but I was so angry and I ate my yummy croissant and I looked at them and I ate like as if I was making love to the croissant, like, don't you wish you had this? I was like, chomp, chomp, chomp. And then I would like pat my belly, like my belly was happy. Look, I know it's extremely immature, but it was also immature of them to steal my fucking wallet. Okay. And mostly, who am I mad about in this podcast episode? Obviously, it's myself. I mean, yes, it's unfortunate that those kids are not in school and there is this kind of problem with these Roma kids who, by the way, I don't know if you know, are not Romanian. We were confused because the detective said, oh, yes, a lot of them are in Romania. So we thought, oh, they're Romanian kids, the Romanian gypsies. And then we looked it up on the internet and no, the Roma people are a different lineage and heritage that I will not get into because I'm supposed to make this podcast short. airport. But what confused us is that a lot of them live in actual Romania. Look it up if you want to, but definitely please do not call them gypsies because they deserve a little bit of respect, except the 5 or 6 motherfuckers who stole my wallet and also stole my last night in Paris. But I have to say that it was a little bit exciting. It was like we were on a high-speed chase. I mean, like walking and train related. There was theft, there was revenge, it was very fun, actually. And I got my little bit of pettiness back. And mostly, again, I am bothered at this story. I'm bothered at the system that created this whole shit, but I'm mostly bothered by myself. I was warned to watch my fucking belongings, and I did not. I couldn't even... This is the purse, everyone. I don't even wear it anymore because it brings me back to this horrible memory of me being stupid, okay? It's a very old Burberry purse. It's nice. It's nice. But listen to this. Look and watch how hard it is to zipper up, which now makes me realize it would have been very difficult to unzipper it and steal my wallet. I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm bothered by myself. If you are headed to Europe or anywhere else, just don't be stupid like me. Be smart. Zip up your purse. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Bothered. It is summer. Stay cool, everybody. Like I said, I am very hot right now here in the studio. I'll be making a trip to the UK and doing a couple of spots there. Haven't quite figured out what to do. Let me know if you have any recommendations. And then a bunch of shows in the fall as part of a Canadian tour with Rick Mercer. Nobody gives a shit about me on this tour. Everybody is a hardcore Rick Mercer fan. Don't forget to email me also, bothered@juliekimcomedy.com. At this point, I still will make the capacity to write back to everybody, so please do that. I'm gonna do it for sure this week. I promise. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Living like this, I might lose it.